then second.
So don't talk.
It's recording now. So present. Okay, just wait a second. Right, it's recording. There you go.
Well, I can't see myself.
Don't worry about not seeing yourself. That's what's presenting there.
Right, good morning. So today we're going to be looking at ballads. It's a new unit of work that we're going to be doing. Let's see what we've got for today. So the first thing you need to be doing, obviously, is your check-in. Your check-in will be on this slide. You'll just go over to the icon here and click on the check-in. As you can see, this is my first video, year 8, so bear with me. And I'm sure, you know, me explaining this will hopefully make it a little bit easier for you. And as I do this more often, it will get easier for me too. So your check-in will be a Google form doc on here. Just press it and then obviously answer questions. Then we will move on to today. And as I say, we're going to be looking at ballads, and it will be an introductory lesson to ballads. So we're not actually going to look at an example ballad today, but you'll be doing that in this week. But today we're going to figure out what actually is a ballad. But before we move on to that, I'd like to think about what we've already learnt about poetry and what you remember about studying poetry, because ballad is a form of a poem, and you need to know and remember how we study poetry before we can look at ballads in specific. So, exploding a poem, you may remember this term, and flirts may have been one way of remembering it for you. So this is why I've got this slide for you, just to recap. Form, a poetic form just refers to a type of poem that follows a particular set of rules, whether it be the number of lines, the length of a number of stanzas, rhyme scheme, subject matter, or really whatever rule you can think of. So, for example, today's form we will be looking at is the ballad form. The language, what vocabulary has the poet chosen to use? Remember this word effect, the effect they're trying to create on the reader. So all the vocabulary choices, maybe adjectives, adverbs. Why have they chosen to use those particular vocab choices? Imagery, has the poet created a picture in your mind? How have they done this? They've used metaphors, similes. Remember those important techniques that you should be looking out for and analysing. Rhyme and rhythm. Okay, so rhyme schemes. Does a poem have a rhyme? Remember, not all poems need to rhyme, but sometimes they do. Think about the syllables that have been used. Think about, do the words sound same or similar? The tone, which is the mood of the poem. Thinking about the pace, the emotion of the poem. And the structure, which is the layout of the poem. How has the poet laid their structure? What stanza lengths have they used? What line lengths? Obviously, all of this is very, very important when we look at a poem. Let's move on. So for today, what is a ballad? Well, if you click on the link, there will be a definition of what a ballad is for you, just to reiterate that word, that term, and give you some more of an understanding if you're not sure. And then we've got a very, very short video clip. It's only about 1.5 minutes in length. You have a little look of that. It will talk about different types of ballads. When you've watched it, I'd like you to recap on what you've watched and just write a few words in your own words to explain what a ballad is. So literally, I'm just going to work through this PowerPoint. Obviously, you will be working at your own speed. I know I'm going through it quite quickly, but I'm just trying to go through the PowerPoint with you so you understand what the PowerPoint is asking you to do. There is an information on ballads. It's about a page in length, okay? And there's a lot of information. When you click on it, it will ask you to highlight some of the key points about ballads. Once you've done that and you've highlighted it, I'd also like to think and list any examples of ballads you may already know of, or if you can maybe do a bit of independent research and find out some examples of ballads and write them down on this PowerPoint. But you must read the information and you must highlight the key information, which will give you more ideas about what a ballad is. This one I think you're going to enjoy. Ballads are also obviously songs, okay? And as we've talked about this before, poetry is essentially, you know, used in songs, raps, and you can watch an example of a ballad here, Bruno Mars. And I want you to think about, why do you think this is a ballad? Especially now you know more about ballads, haven't read the information sheet. So you'd be able to answer why you think this song might be a particular style of a ballad. And then once you've done that, today you would have learned a lot of different conventions of ballads, I hope. And I would like you to list the main characteristics in this slide for me. For example, you know, you may have realized that we have what are called heroic ballads, perhaps, or tragic ballads. And, you know, what might be a characteristics? They've come from old traditions and oral traditions, perhaps. I'm not going to give you all of the examples, but there are a couple of examples there for those of you that need it. Right, and this last slide before we go on to the checkout is a little bit of fun. I found this online. If you click on the Have a Go link there, you'll be able to just have a little go at creating your own ballad lyrics. It was just a little bit of fun, a short fun activity. It won't take you more than a couple of minutes, but I found it quite fun to do, so I thought I'd share that with you. And finally, it's time to check out. You must check out. Remember, this is very, very important. We will collate your information from this form. It is a Google form which is being uploaded where it says click here. You must click there and do your checkout, and it will tell me how much you've learned today about ballads and remembered what you've remembered about poetry. Well, that's my very first video, a very different way of teaching for Mrs. Mack-Poole. For those of you that know me, you know, I'm getting more and more tech savvy, which is taking me a little while, but you know what I'm like. Have a great day.
Yeah, well.
You stopped it too quick.
Oh, that's fun.
I was going to say be kind.
Oh, they can still hear you. Right.
Oh.